Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrecht and Tommy Kester.
Hey, welcome in, everybody. Happy Monday to you here on Sports Daily. It is Jacob Albrecht and Tommy Kester, and we are coming to you live as we do every day from 9 to 11. Glad to have you here. All kinds of different ways to take in the show. Thanks to those listening to us out there on KFH right now, the Odyssey app. Thanks to us watching on 12 News Connected. Maybe you're watching out there on Facebook or YouTube or X. We appreciate it no matter how you want to take in the show. You can get in touch with the show a variety of different ways as well. You can leave your video comments on those streams. We can get those out over the air. You can, of course, always call the IHOP hotline if you'd like to talk to us live over the air. That's 869-1240. Jad Chambers is watching that for us. And it's brought to you by IHOP. IHOP, excited to bring you back. It's all-you-can-eat pancakes deal through September 15th. A lot of fun stuff on the show today. It is finally a game week. Preseason is here. We had the Hall of Fame game. Now we get the real preseason games. As far as, starters playing a little bit, we'll follow the Chiefs closely to see how much they might play. We might get a little insight into that before we leave the air today. But, of course, you'll hear Chiefs preseason football. Can you believe it? Saturday against the Jags. It'll air on KNSS, where all the Chiefs games were the home of the Kansas City Chiefs here at Odyssey. So looking forward to all of those conversations getting started back up. The Olympics are in. It's a tight gold medal count right now between USA and China, but a lot of fun stuff happening over the weekend. USA boasting the world's fastest man, which is always exciting. And, of course, Royals baseball is where I think, Tommy, will spend most of our day today. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Happy Monday. Good to see you today. Busy weekend, at least on my end. I know you were out of town a little bit this weekend, went up to KC, right, for a concert, and just a lot going on this weekend.
Yeah. We went and saw Morgan Wallen. It was good. He's a good performer. One of my wife's favorites. It was kind of a tail end of a long birthday celebration for my wife who loves her birthday. No, it was a good time. It was fine. There was so it was weird, that delay thing. I don't know if you heard about that, but somebody in the crowd, and it sounds like it was just somebody with a really dumb joke, made some kind of a threat. And so we're sitting there at the concert, and it was between Wallen and the act before him, we're talking like an hour. And like, I'm sitting there and I'm getting anxious, and what is happening? Because he's got a little bit of history of some things, and I'm like, did we do all this and he's not even going to show up? I was getting a little annoyed. Then he came out and he performed, and he has all the hits and he was fine. But then I saw that after the fact, and I felt bad for how much of a hard time I was giving him. Because there was clearly a good reason there. But it was a good show. I will say, that delay, when you're having to sit there for an hour, Tommy, I mean, what are you going to do? Twiddle your thumbs? Maybe you party a little bit harder than you anticipated.
Yeah. I was going to say,
there.
You drink more $25 beers that you can get at the concession stand.
Yep. That's exactly what you do. But it was fun. It was a good time. Gosh, getting out of there. If you ever Uber to an event there, I mean, shame on me maybe for trying to do that, but we sat out in that parking lot forever. And then just finally started walking to Taco Bell and just jumped in a cab. It was good though.
Isn't that Taco Bell, by the way? That's the wildest Taco Bell after events.
We didn't make it all the way there because we hailed a cab in the middle of the street, and we were like, just take us. And so we finally got out of there.
Yeah.
But it was like, you couldn't even get we were all just trying all the ride share things, and it's just spinning out of control. I'm like, how is this possible in a city this size? These Uber drivers could make a killing on a night like this. Everybody ought to be driving because they'll jack that price way up. We Uber down, no problem. So I don't know. It was good though. The show was good. And he's not my favorite in the world, but he has a lot of good. I always say he's the best to have on at the pool. It's just kind of but it was good. He performed his stuff well, and you saw Kelsey and Mahomes bring him out, and Andy Reid was up there in his Hawaiian right behind us where we were sitting. So it was fine. It was good. It was a good show. We missed Lainey Wilson. She opened the night before. I was bummed about that. I got to tell you.
Pretty hot out there, right? I mean, did you guys stay cool?
You know what? I didn't think it. So yeah, they changed their policy. I think, what was it? What was the one you were at? Kenny Chesney?
Kenny Chesney. Yeah, Kenny Chesney.
So they had that one. And I think they got a lot of people had like some heat exhaustion and they got in trouble because of like the price of water. So this time they let you bring a bottle of water in and you could just refill it. So that was much less of a problem. I didn't think it was too hot out there. Once you went, like we met up with some people in the concourse in between, and it was hot in there. It was real hot in the concourse. Once you got out into the breeze, though, I never sat there outside at any point and was like, oh my goodness, it's so hot out here. So it was very comfortable once you got out of but in the concourse where there was no breeze or anything, it was like a sauna. It was pretty warm in there. But it was a good time. It was a good time. We went up, enjoyed the weekend, saw the plaza. No, is it the plaza? No. What is that area? God, now I can't even think of it. An area that I had not stayed
Country
at.
Club Plaza?
Country Club Plaza. There you go. Yeah, that's where we stayed. It was really cool down there. I had not been there yet. It was a good weekend. It was a good weekend for the Royals. Royals play at home this next weekend. It was sad to miss them. I was going to try and catch a game, but they're back home this next weekend. And that, boy, I got to tell you, almost a perfect little road trip there. And one blip on the radar on Saturday night was annoying, but then they sort of made up for it yesterday. So I think you can kind of count it as a wash. You get the ninth inning heroics from MJ Melendez one night, and you get a bullpen blowing a lead on the other night. So I think it all worked itself out. I think you take, 6 out of 7 on a road trip, and you feel pretty good about it, even though it's against those two teams. I don't really care. Kansas City played well. They pitched really well in the starting rotation. And the bullpen continues to be a big question, Tommy. And that game on Saturday was sort of the perfect storm of everything that we've been concerned about. When you have MacArthur struggle, you have Harvey struggle. Bubic, I'm not going to hold against him. He's been so good out of the bullpen. It's in the extra innings thing. A little different than when, let's say, MacArthur comes in and just gives up a couple of hits right out of the gate. He continues to look very hittable. He needs to be done in high leverage for a little while. And I think how that bullpen sorts out, it was our number one question going into the weekend at the end of the week. And I don't think we know yet. Yesterday, they went back to Harvey and he got the job done, to his credit. I still think he makes me a little nervous. He did give up a hit. I don't think he looks dominant by any means at this point, but Quatraro said after the game, hey, look, we traded a lot to get him to pitch in high leverage situations, so we're going to pitch him in high leverage situations. But Erceg, Tommy, continues to look dominant. And if it's a hot hand approach, I think he's your guy now. Now, he pitched back-to-back nights, so he did not pitch yesterday. I do want to know, they've got a big series that we'll talk about coming up against Boston here, how they sort this out. You cannot go back to MacArthur. You cannot go back to MacArthur at this point. He needs to move to a much different position in this bullpen to at least try to get himself back on track. But you can't keep running him out there. I mean, he looks terrible.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that the Royals put themselves in a pretty precarious situation. And really, it started with Hunter Harvey on Saturday's game, giving up the runs to tie the game and then going into extras because they didn't really have a whole lot of other options than to bring in MacArthur in the 11th inning. That really, I was not happy, just like you were, that he was the guy in that situation because we just know that MacArthur has not been able to handle those situations well over the last couple of months. He was in that position partly because of necessity. They just didn't really have a lot of other options. They had already thrown Erceg. They had already thrown Harvey. Of course, Harvey was the one that gave up the runs in the 9th. So that was kind of, they backed themselves into a corner a little bit there. It was good to see, to your point, Harvey shutting it down in the 9th yesterday. That was, I think, that's big. I mean, I think that that's something that Harvey can build off of. And I know that Quatraro's explanation and justification, it's not wrong. They gave up a lot to get Hunter Harvey, so they need to put him in those high leverage situations. I think that Harvey is working up to being that guy. I don't think that when they brought him in, that in his development as a player, that he's ready yet to be that full-time guy. And so I understand, like, we traded a lot to get him. We got to put him in those situations. Well, is he really ready for that? Or did you get him, and I believe this to be the case, I believe they brought him in to be the closer of the future for this team, not necessarily this season, but next year and beyond. And I think that that's a big reason why, if it were me, it's not that I wouldn't put him in those situations necessarily, but it's more about like getting him acclimated to it, easing him in. You don't just throw him into the fire, I don't think, because he hasn't really responded particularly well to that. I mean, yesterday he did, but other than that, it's been rough for him. In the meantime, they acquire Lucas Ursig at the trade deadline, and Ursig has pitched really, really well. So I'm with you. If I'm the Royals, I'm putting Ursig in that position right now while getting Harvey more acclimated and ready to go to potentially be that guy to take over that role in the future.
So the Royals acquired him on July 13th. He did not pitch for the Royals, I don't believe, for a week there. So if you go and just look at his log, since he's been traded to Kansas City, he does not, Tommy, in 6 appearances, have a clean inning. And his whip is very high. So he's given up hits in 4 out of those 6. And in the 2 he did not give up hits, he gave up 3 walks combined. He is allowing too many base runners right now. And when you talk about him and high leverage and all of these things in those 6 appearances, which I believe covers 5 2/3 innings, he has 5 strikeouts. So 1-1, that's not terrible. That's okay. But it's not like elite level closer stuff. So whatever they expect him to be, which is, again, the beauty of his trade is it is a bigger picture trade, but they do need him now. He's not what they anticipate him being at this point. In fact, he's not even close to that.
They need him now, but do they need him as the closer now? I think that's the question. I don't think they do, because they have Ursig. I would be an advocate for putting Ursig in that role.
I would too. Yes, Ursig needs to be the closer. I mean, before, that is my thought for sure, because he actually looks pretty dominant right now in his outings. He has that type of stuff. But the reality is with Harvey, doesn't really matter yet. Like, it matters, but like I'm looking at it more as like, who are the 3 guys who you are going to run out? I don't care necessarily what order it comes in, but when the starter is ready to hand the ball off with a lead, usually after 6 innings when it's the Royals, who are the 3 guys you are going to task with that specific job? Doesn't really matter the order, because maybe your 8th inning guy faces the top of the lineup and your 9th inning guy gets the bottom of the lineup, right? I am a believer in old school bullpen chisel out roles, but right now I don't think it's particularly clear for the Royals how to do that. I think they just have to find their 3 guys. It is not MacArthur. Get him out of the conversation. Okay.
I think at this point, MacArthur, I would be an advocate, and I don't know what exactly they have to make this move with, but move him to AAA. Like, there's got to maybe be somebody else that you can bring in.
Well, you want him to pitch through it. Yeah, you want him to pitch through it. So I don't disagree.
Do you want him to pitch? Do you want him to pitch through it?
Not at the big league level.
Yeah, I was going to say, send him to AAA, let him work through it.
And that may be too dramatic.
I think it's a confidence thing right now.
I do too.
I think he's in his head a little bit, and I think that.
That's the thing,
he's a victim of his own circumstance, where he had done so well,
but he hadn't done.
He did. He had a blip on the radar early in the season where, was it dominant? No, but he was. I mean, remember, he like dethroned Will Smith. I think Will Smith was kind of the de facto closer to start the season for the Royals, kind of dethroned him, because remember, it was Smith, it was Nick Anderson for a while, it was even Chris Stratton. Yeah. None of those guys, the veterans that they acquired, were doing anything at all. MacArthur came in and was actually able to convert saves. He did allow traffic, but he was locking games down for the Royals early on. And then at that point, I think there was too much pressure that was put up on his shoulders. He had never been in that spot before, and he's fallen off a cliff. And it's hard to watch him now, especially in those high leverage situations, because he's not enjoying it. He's not out there embracing this role. It's something that Quatrero's got to recognize. And I know they were backed into a corner on Saturday, but you've got to do everything you can to keep that situation from occurring in the future.
Less bad is not good, though, either, right? Just because he's less bad than Will Smith does not just by nature make him good. He had a stretch in April, in like mid-April, over maybe 5 games, 6 games or something where he was pretty good. Like he was
Yeah, he
dominating.
was.
He was striking out a ton of batters. That's been it though. Like he hasn't been that ever since then. Like he had that little stretch and just go look at, you don't even have to dig that deep to go look at his, he had another pretty good stretch in June. I should give him a little more credit than that, but it was still traffic filled, right? Like he wasn't giving up the runs, but he was giving up a lot of hits. He was walking a lot of dudes, and then it's just totally unraveled now. I just don't think he profiles there. I'm not saying he's not a useful piece. He absolutely can be a useful piece for sure. If you're in a situation early in a game, if you're, if you need to keep it close, but you don't have the league, I'm not saying don't give the ball to MacArthur at all. I'm saying don't make MacArthur a part of the last 3 guys that touch the ball if your starter hands it off after the 6th inning with a lead. Who are those 3 guys?
I'm saying don't give him the ball at all right now. Like I think
there are
you move him
games
out and let him work through it, and then if he can work through the issues, then you can bring him back.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't know who I trust more, let's call it MacArthur or Will Smith. Will Smith is such a situational reliever now. It's just they may not have better options.
I think Will
anywhere.
Smith, because Will Smith has been there before. Like I would take that over MacArthur being in situations that he's clearly uncomfortable in. I know that.
I think it doesn't matter because either of those situations you're going to see those guys unless your bullpen stretched thin is when you're behind, right? You're not at that point with your formula to win a game. Ursig is clearly one of those 3 guys. There is no doubt about it. I think probably Long is too. I think that he's done that. I kind of like seeing Bubic in that role. I know it's a role he's never pitched in, really, which is of course the risk when you do that. But he's been pretty good. And look, I get it. He blew the lead, but remember, he inherits a runner at second base when you get to extra innings. That's a little bit tricky. But if you go look at Long lately, he has been their most consistent pitcher. Since the month of July, he gave up 1 run in the month. And that's over like 12 appearances. I think he's probably the guy. Now they've used him in a way that they like to use him. But I think you can look at him. I think you can look at Bubic. I think you can look at Ursig. And the reality is, and Long's a lefty, so maybe they want to use him more situationally, and that's fine too. Harvey probably is going to get a very long leash in this, but I would rather see him get that leash in the 7th to allow your offense a little bit of time to do something, because he's still, just to my eyes, and I have not looked at his game logs, but to my eyes, he does not look dominant at all. He looks hittable. It's like a slightly better version of MacArthur. It's like kind of what MacArthur's going through, but with better stuff. So I wouldn't run him out there in the night. Now, Cottraro did. And here's the problem for us too, when it comes to bullpen guys, Tommy, like the psychology of it is so important. We're not talking to these guys every day. I don't know how they're holding up mentally to what's going on. And so that makes it a little bit interesting at the same time. Like maybe because I think your opinion could totally change if you're having conversations with these guys day to day. Like, how are they handling it? If Harvey's like, you know what, damn it, who cares? Like, I'll be right back out there, and he's got the right attitude. He's got the stuff that profiles there. Obviously, that's why they gave up what they gave to get it. Maybe it's not in the night. I just think Ursig needs to be the closer. That's the first thing I text you when Saturday happened. I'm like, all right, that's enough. Like, let Ursig close these games because he looks good. He looks really good.
It's really been, I think, a major issue this season with the Royals, primarily with a reliability situation. Like, that's kind of been the question. Like, who do you trust night in and night out? And I'm not even talking about in the closer position. I'm just talking about in general. Like, doesn't really matter the situation, the inning, who's up in the lineup, the score of the game, I don't really care about any of that. I'm just talking about the bullpen itself. Who in that bullpen can you consistently trust? And really, I mean, Ursig, there's a small sample size since he's been with this team, but so far, yes, Ursig has been consistent. I think Sam Long, for the most part, has been a relatively reliable piece of that bullpen. I think he's kind of
he's been good. He's a lefty, and they may want to just use him against lefties. I don't know.
Now, I'm not sure that he is somebody that's going to profile out to be like a consistent late innings kind of guy, but just as a general reliability piece in that bullpen, Sam Long has been pretty reliable for that bullpen. Zerpa has been relatively reliable most of the time.
He kind of fills a different role. Yeah.
I'm not sure that he's going to profile out as a late innings type guy, high leverage guy for the most part, but there are some reliable pieces. And I think so from there, you have players you can trust when they come out. I think it's just a matter of identifying, okay, we trust these guys, but who's going to close the game out for us when we absolutely have to get it done?
I'm going to give you one more, and we got to take a break because we're way over. Bubic, outside of Tommy, that game where he inherits the runner, right? He's given up runs in 1 out of, I think, like 9 appearances. Bubic has been nails in the bullpen. And it may be time to also just take a look at that. And the problem there is I'm sure the Royals like his ability to give him multiple innings if they need it. But, man, if he's a weapon there, I think you got to at least think about it. There's enough to work with there. And thankfully, they were working through some of that against those 2 teams. But now it's Boston. Now we're really going to see what Quatraro's thinking, I think, over this series. We'll get into that. We'll get into the rest of what the Royals did. Everything else was really good. That was a great road trip. 869-1240. You can call us on the IHOP hotline. Let us know what you think. All this baseball coverage, by the way, presented by T-Mobile. Switch to T-Mobile, and you can get tons of benefits and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. Use their savings calculator to find out how at T-Mobile.com/switch. We will be back. Your calls, your comments, all of it here on Sports Daily. It's Al Brockton Caster. Don't go away.
Colin Huck's power washing is like getting to the top of Mount Everest with only a bag of beef jerky and a soda. Hucks can conquer all residential or commercial exterior cleaning woes that you have, leaving you feeling like you're on top of the world. House washing, window cleaning, driveway washing, to even graffiti removal. Coming this fall, we'll offer professional holiday lights installation. We love muck and gunk. You don't. Let Hucks handle it. Call for a quote today.
Right. Start your day with 12 News This Morning. Get ready with Jake's accurate hour-by-hour forecast, so you'll know if you need a jacket when you walk out the door or an umbrella by lunch. Start your day knowing what happened overnight and what's happening now. Live, breaking news all morning long. And plan the best route to work and school with traffic from across Kansas. Start your day right. Start your day with 12 News This Morning on KWCH and KSEW.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
At 12 News, we know you're busy, which is why we're here whenever you need us. Anytime, any screen. With live breaking news.
Critically hurt after an apartment.
Storm Team 12 forecast.
Snowing for many miles.
And the stories you don't want to miss.
The scene's still very active.
Just search KWCH 12 News wherever you stream and catch up on the latest news of the day. All for free and on your schedule, hopefully making your day a little bit easier. And did I mention the Storm Team 12 forecast? 12 News whenever you want.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Determining fact from fiction. That's our full-time job.
You need to have someone give you the whole story from every side.
To help you when no one else is listening.
You need someone to put you first.
That's what we do.
We bring you the facts first.
When you need it.
Wherever you are.
12 News. Facts first.
Win some HTO, free iced tea, free reign coffee, one of each on us here at Sports Daily. It's our text to win contest. All you need to do to enter is text the keyword T to the short code 20357. Those are available to you at either Wichita location, east or west Wichita, or in Derby. A free iced tea, a free coffee on us, one entry per day. Message and data rates apply. Good luck. Again, that's T to 20357. Welcome back into Sports Daily. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor here. Jad Chambers back in studio, man in that IHOP hotline, 869-1240. You can get in touch with us on your video streams, 12 News Connected, on X, on YouTube, on Facebook. Maybe you're listening to us from the future on the Odyssey app, where we always podcast the show out, which is a great way to take in the show. Look, we get it. 9 to 11, maybe you're busy. You want to take in the show anyway? Download the Odyssey app, and you can find the podcasted form there every day. We're talking Royals right now. We'll have more on the Chiefs as we make our way through, maybe a little Olympics talk here. The Royals, we spent a lot of time there on the bullpen because I do think it's the most, I don't want to call it urgent, but I guess urgent is the right word, need. But the Royals have won 5 out of 6, Tommy, here on that road trip. And they sit right now still a half game behind Minnesota, who is red hot like the Royals are. They've won 4 in a row. The Yankees are winning games again. So what you're seeing is the Yankees, the Twins, the Royals sort of creating some distance, maybe a little bit of space. Tampa continues to win games oddly, which, you know, they played Houston. So I think you take that because I think you see Houston there at the end of the year far more than you do Tampa, who traded away all their players. Boston is the one I think that you most urgently look at, and that just happens to be the team the Royals get to play here coming up next. And I think you like everything you saw out of the series. When we text back and forth, you had Michael Garcia leading off a game. You had Freddie Fermin leading off a game. They're kind of mixing it up a little bit at the top of the lineup, which is what they're going to have to do. But you like the games out of the offense. Good for MJ Melendez last night. My goodness, what a moment for him. And, you know, I think DeYoung is giving them quality. I think you just are going to keep mixing and matching these lineups, which I got no problem with that, honestly. I have no issue with Quatraro kind of mixing it up at all. It's what they've done all year long. Now they just have a few more quality bats to do it with.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like overall the trade deadline acquisitions for the Royals really, I think, were pretty visible over the weekend with the Tigers.
Yeah.
DeYoung had a really good game on Friday when the Royals won 9-2, had a couple of RBIs. Of course, Ursig has pitched really well since he came over. Of course, we've talked about Hunter Harvey and kind of the situation surrounding him and what the Royals think he can do in the future for them. But, it's not a situation where Matt Quatraro sat back with those acquisitions and said, we're going to ease you all in to what we're doing here in Kansas City. It was like right away, like, we need you. We need you to jump in and need you to contribute right away. I texted you when I saw over the weekend that Freddie Fermin was leading off, and that was the first time that he'd led off this season. I saw it on the lineup card, was the DH batting leadoff. And I thought initially, this is amazing. And I still think that. I still think that he could be somebody consistently that could lead off and be a contributor for this team. And I think that Freddie Fermin quietly has established himself as one of the better hitters in this lineup, basically night in and night out. I think that he gets lost in the shuffle.
And then
it's not for 5. Well, he goes over 5, but it's not necessarily it's not necessarily just who he is as a batter, but it's also the positions that he'll play. Like, he gets lost in the shuffle behind Salvador Perez.
Sure.
He'll get lost in the shuffle behind Vinny Pasquantino. So you don't think about him as much, I don't think. It wasn't a great leadoff.
Although in extra innings, what did he do? He came up and he moved the runner over.
He did.
Like I really like the idea of him at the top of the lineup.
But I mean, look, they've got 40, 50 some games left in this season. It's going to be a flavor of the week or a flavor of the day, even for who Quatraro ends up putting at the leadoff position. We're not going to see somebody consistently bat leadoff, I don't think, between now and the end of the year. It's going to be a situational case by case. Who is riding the hot hand, who in their mind projects out to be successful on that particular day. And that's who we're going to see. Michael Garcia, it could be Freddie Fermin. It could be Michael Massey.
It could be DeYoung. Yeah, it could be all of them. I agree.
A lot of different players.
It's because they don't have them. I mean, they don't have the obvious answer. So yeah, just kind of like the bullpen. You don't have the obvious answer right now. So probably Quatraro's just going to mix and match it. That doesn't mean he can't find the obvious answer. Maybe the obvious answer changes, but yeah, look, it is what it is. What they did continue to get is consistent starting pitching. That game on, the game they lost on Saturday, I believe every player they acquired at the deadline played in that game, including Lorenzen, who started and gave them a nice quality start. Exactly what they want to see out of him. But Ursig pitched in that game. Harvey pitched in that game. Lorenzen pitched in that game, and DeYoung hit in that game and had a home run. So I mean, that's what that's a perfect display of what you did at the deadline. I don't have the answer on Harvey this year. If Harvey works out and gives them a back end of the bullpen piece, it will have been an excellent trade deadline, most likely for the Royals. All things considered, what they had to trade, what they were trying to protect, what they were doing. But clearly they had needs for all these players because they're playing them and they're in high profile spots right now. And so this is the team. And look, this team is looking good. They're in a good position. That can all get turned upside down in a series against Boston here. I don't think we anticipate that happening, but it could. It absolutely could. And they have to be, I don't look at it as a be careful series. I look at it as a tremendous opportunity series now coming into this. You come back home. You wish maybe you had the day of rest before the series, but you got to power through that. And then you do get a day of rest. So you can sort of empty the tank in this series, if you will. But you get Singer, Lugo, and Reagans. This is what you want, right? This is how it lines up. It's a series where you could really, really damage the team that is chasing you the most directly here. 2 out of 3 is going to be damaging if you can get it. And if you don't, it's going to be a tight race, but there could be significant distance put between the teams right here in this series starting tonight, which we love. It's a big time series.
Well, and the Red Sox are trying to jockey themselves back into position for a wild card spot. James Paxton was one of their acquisitions. He's starting tonight for the Red Sox, and so he's going to be on display as one of the guys that Boston acquired to make that playoff push. Paxton has a good win-loss record, but a pretty high ERA. He's got a ERA about 4.5 or so, but an 8-3 win-loss record on the year. I like this matchup between Paxton and Brady Singer. You've kind of got a pitcher in Paxton that is settling in. He didn't have a good outing their last time out. He pitched against the Mariners and lost in that game. He only made it 4 1/3, gave up 3 runs and 6 hits in that loss against the Mariners. But the Red Sox are expecting Paxton to do good things for them. Not only is his ERA high, his whip is high as well, 1.46 whip. And so he's allowing a lot of traffic. It's going to be obviously important for Kansas City to get runners on base and to move those runners around. And so Paxton is a hittable pitcher. He's found ways to get wins this season. But I like the Royals' opportunity here to get some runs on Paxton.
Yeah, I mean, he's a veteran. So I don't want to take anything for granted. He's a guy who, injuries aside, at times has been elite level pitcher. I think you just have to, you're back home. You expect when you're back home, the offense to be good. Bobby Witt Jr. over the weekend, what did he go in those final 2 games? 1 for 9. So you need him to, a 2-game funk for him, right? As he leads the big leagues in batting average. Like you need him to snap out of it just a little bit, but I expect the energy to be tremendous. And then you follow it up with a big energy series, against St. Louis. And so you're going to have, this is a nice little stretch. St. Louis still very much in the mix in the National League. We may go to the game Saturday as a back to school, one more little family hoorah. So we're kind of looking forward to that. But this is, you get 5 games this week. It's a weird week. They take Sunday off, by the way, which is just the strangest thing to me. I don't know what that is. But they get 5 games this week against quality teams. You get them all at home. This is a pretty, if you're a Royals fan, and I mean, Boston's always exciting. Boston always brings big crowds, but this is Boston in a direct playoff chase in August, right? And then you get the Cardinals. This is a big week for Royals fans. Get to a game. Get excited about this team. And I would imagine the players will feel that energy too. These will probably all be very large crowds. I think everybody's fired up, jacked up for these. And, back to our conversation in the first hour, there's a lot of little things we want to look at here, right? We want to see how the bullpen shakes out in high leverage games against teams you got to beat. I want to see Ursa close these games. I'll be honest. I want to see him pitch in the 9th innings. If you've got a lead in a situation where he can save games, I want to see if that stuff translates there. It's not something he's ever done. I don't think it's why they brought him in, but man, he's looked really good since they have, and his stuff is electric. And he's a player nobody had on their radar, he and Harvey. Let's see if those 2 guys can lead the way. I'm a little hesitant on Harvey still, but they're going to keep going to him. Just not MacArthur. Just don't do that. Not MacArthur late in the game, the 7th, 8th, or 9th with a lead. Let's utilize him in other ways now. And nice job getting the Royals to this point. Tremendous effort from him this year, but it ain't working lately. That game tonight, you'll hear right here on KFH, and coverage begins at 7 o'clock. I'm fired up for this week of baseball. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and the K should be absolutely rocking tonight and through the week, especially in this Boston series. You've got 2 teams that, again, are positioning themselves for a playoff push. And it doesn't get much better than that. I hope we see great turnout, especially tonight to kick off this series against the Red Sox. There's no reason why you shouldn't see that. And again, you mentioned it before. You've got Singer, you've got Lugo, you've got Reagans. You've got your 3 top guys that are going to pitch for the Royals. The offense really, I think, outside of yesterday's game when it took MJ Melendez to win the game with that big home run in the 9th, outside of yesterday's game, the offenses looked really good too overall. And so you need to get that, continuing, especially back home in the series. This is an opportunity. The Royals can go one of 2 directions in this game tonight. They can either basically put down Boston and basically remove Boston from the playoff picture pretty much.
It's too early. It's too early for that, but they can do damage. They can
do quite a bit of damage to where it's going to be really difficult for Boston to get back into the wild card race. If the Royals can, let's say they sweep this series, that's going to be hard for Boston to get back into it. Or, it could be a neck and neck, type race for that second wild card spot. So it could go one of two directions for Kansas City, all based on this series starting tonight.
You know what they get after the 5-day week? 3 games at Minnesota. Come on now. Come on now. You got a chance to rest up for the Minnesota series, keep things rocking and rolling and grooving. Ken says he'd love to go Saturday, but it's Mizzou night. That doesn't really affect me very much. We'll be there. I get it, KU fans. You don't like hearing that, but Kansas City is in Missouri, so I get it. It won't impact me at all. But yeah, it looks like it'll be a good week, game wise, exciting wise, and we'll of course have them all for you here on KFH. All right, we'll come back. We'll kind of get caught up a little bit on the Olympics, our favorite things from the Olympic weekend. We'll get into that, and then we'll talk Chiefs in the second hour. It is a game week, and I think it's a game week people are probably more excited for than normal for a couple of reasons. We'll talk about all that as we make our way through. Thanks for watching us on 12 News Connected. Thanks for watching us on X, on YouTube, on Facebook, however it is you're watching us. And thanks, of course, for listening to us on KFH. We'll wrap up hour number 1 when we come back. It's All Brockton Caster. Don't go away.
Colin Huck's power washing is like getting to the top of Mount Everest with only a bag of beef jerky and a soda. Hucks can conquer all residential or commercial exterior cleaning woes that you have, leaving you feeling like you're on top of the world. House washing, window cleaning, driveway washing, to even graffiti removal. Coming this fall, we'll offer professional holiday lights installation. We love muck and gunk. You don't. Let Hucks handle it. Call for a quote today.
Right. Start your day with 12 News this morning. Get ready with Jake's accurate hour-by-hour forecast, so you'll know if you need a jacket when you walk out the door or an umbrella by lunch. Start your day knowing what happened overnight and what's happening now. Live, breaking news all morning long. And plan the best route to work and school with traffic from across Kansas. Start your day right. Start your day with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSEW.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into the jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
At 12 News, we know you're busy, which is why we're here whenever you need us. Anytime, any screen. With live breaking news.
Critically hurt after an apartment.
Storm Team 12 forecast.
Snowing for many miles.
And the stories you don't want to miss.
The scene's still very active.
Just
right
search KWCH 12 News wherever you stream and catch up on the latest news of the day. All for free and on your schedule, hopefully making your day a little bit easier. And did I mention the Storm Team 12 forecast? 12 News whenever you want.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Determining fact from fiction. That's our full-time job.
You need to have someone give you the whole story from every side.
To help you when no one else is listening.
You need someone to put you first.
That's what we do.
We bring you the facts first,
When you need it.
wherever you are.
12 News. Facts first.
All right, welcome back in. It is Sports Daily. All Brockton Caster. Jad Chambers producing man in that IHOP hotline for us. It's 869-1240. You can also leave us your comments on our video stream. Tommy, Olympic weekend. It was good. You got a little track and field mixed in, some swimming wrapping up, still a little bit of gymnastics. I think my favorite thing of the weekend is that, America boasts the fastest man in the world. The 100-meter dash is and on the women's side, you had a very tiny country get its first medal. So I think both 100-meter dashes were pretty cool to see. Always Team USA, though, and a nice job there for the U.S. to take home that gold.
Yeah, that was great. And it was fun to follow that and watch that. How about, though, you didn't even mention Scotty Scheffler wins the gold medal for Team USA in golf. I mean, the guy's not only winning majors in every tournament that he plays, he's also a gold medalist for the USA. Pretty incredible.
I mean, come on now. You get tears like that from Scheffler? You don't think that means he's not making any money on the Olympics? I mean, it probably increases his marketability to some capacity.
Rory McIlroy actually talked about that recently. I saw an interview with him, I think just within the last couple of days, talking about how the two tournaments that are probably the most important to players just in general are two tournaments where they don't get paid anything. That's the Olympics and the Ryder Cup. And that, I think that kind of puts it into perspective. Like, of course they want to win major championships. They want to win every tournament they play. But you see all this emotion in the Ryder Cup every 2 years between USA and Europe. And then of course the Olympics where you're representing your country. That does mean something at a totally different level than just going out there on your own, trying to win a tournament and make a bunch of money.
Yeah, it's cool. I love it. I love the Olympics for that reason. There was the time, and we don't really remember it. It was before our time to some degree where you didn't have, professionals playing and it had to be amateur, which makes no sense whatsoever when you're trying to celebrate the best athletes in the world. I'm glad that's gone, and it's long gone now. We need baseball and softball back in full force in the Olympics, and I don't know how they could do it. I have no idea how you'd do it. You'd probably, for baseball, have to do minor league players, and that would be okay. Just because of the timing, right? It's right in the middle of the season. But you'd have to do, you got to do it. But it's great. It's awesome to see it. Maybe someday we'll get flag football in the Olympics, right? Like, this is all so much fun. I love it. I love seeing Scheffler do it. The track and field is a blast. The gymnastics has been so intriguing this year that it's been a fun experience, even with the time change, which I feared greatly. I feared the time change. I hate the time change. It has been hard. I've been a little less active on social media because I'm trying to avoid spoilers, maybe than I might normally be. But it's worked out. It's been relatively easy to follow, I will say. Even when I've accidentally seen some things, it's been high profile enough where you watch it anyway. Like the 100-meter dash, for instance, yesterday. I had no idea that was even on. And I just flip it on. And I'm like, like perfect timing. I'm like, this is a 100-meter dash. Is this the final? And it was the final, and I see it, and it was compelling, and it was like by a centimeter that he won, and nobody thought he won. Is great. It was really, really good. But the Olympics have been good. We'll continue to follow along here. There's still a lot of high-profile stuff that comes down the home stretch. Coming up next hour, though, we'll talk a lot about the Chiefs, what's been happening in camp, what to look for this weekend. I think we've got quite a few things that will be of moderate interest, and we'll see how much they play. Andy Reid typically plays his guys. I don't think it'll be more than a series or so, but I do think there are things to watch, like the ranking of things, who starts. There are quite a few things I think to sort of tune in for this weekend with the Chiefs. Even little things like, don't you kind of want to see what Carson Wentz has in the tank a little bit? You know what I mean? Like there's a lot there for the Chiefs coming into this first preseason game. So we'll preview that. We'll get you all caught up from Chiefs camp. That's all coming in hour number 2. Lots of fun stuff here. It is Albrecht and Caster. It is Sports Daily. Thanks for watching on 12 News Connected. Thanks for listening on KFH. We got another hour coming for you right after this.
Colin Huck's power washing is like getting to the top of Mount Everest with only a bag of beef jerky and a soda. Hucks can conquer all residential or commercial exterior cleaning woes that you have, leaving you feeling like you're on top of the world. House washing, window cleaning, driveway washing, to even graffiti removal. Coming this fall, we'll offer professional holiday lights installation. We love muck and gunk. You don't. Let Hucks handle it. Call for a quote today.
Right. Start your day with 12 News this morning. Get ready with Jake's accurate hour-by-hour forecast, so you'll know if you need a jacket when you walk out the door or an umbrella by lunch. Start your day knowing what happened overnight and what's happening now. Live, breaking news all morning long. And plan the best route to work and school with traffic from across Kansas. Start your day right. Start your day with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSEW.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
At 12 News, we know you're busy, which is why we're here whenever you need us. Anytime, any screen. With live breaking news.
Critically hurt after an apartment.
Storm Team 12 forecast.
Snowing for many miles.
And the stories you don't want to miss.
The scene's still very active.
Just search KWCH 12 News wherever you stream and catch up on the latest news of the day. All for free and on your schedule, hopefully making your day a little bit easier. And did I mention the Storm Team 12 forecast? 12 News whenever you want.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Determining fact from fiction. That's our full-time job.
You need to have someone give you the whole story from every side.
To help you when no one else is listening.
You need someone to put you first.
That's what we do.
We bring you the facts first.
When you need it.
Wherever you are.
12 News. Facts first.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrocht and Tommy Kester.
All right, everybody, welcome in. It is hour number 2 of Sports Daily on this Monday. Glad to be here with you, Jacob Albrocht, Tommy Kester. We are making our way through. We've caught up on the Royals. We'll look ahead to the games beginning tonight here in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that. We are making our way to Chiefs camp. That's what we're going to do next. We want to say, though, in the meantime, we always appreciate mornings at KFH here. The great coffee from Prairie Fire Coffee, fueling us up. Appreciate their support of the program. You can get in touch with the program on the IHOP hotline, 869-1240. IHOP excited to bring back its all-you-can-eat pancakes deal through September 15th. Jad is watching that hotline for us. We're watching the video stream. We got some comments there on the video stream. You can find it lots of different places, and you can leave your comments, Facebook, YouTube, X. You can also watch on 12 News Connected. Tommy, it is Chiefs camp. It is the preseason, I think, officially now, right? We're getting everybody playing games. We've had the Hall of Fame. Now we head down the home stretch. We won't get roster cuts for another, a few more weeks here, which I think is one of the big stories anytime with NFL teams. But as you look at it, it's very obvious to me who the number one story in camp has been, and that's Xavier Worthy. I think he's created the most buzz on the team with all the routes. And I think the first thing we want to see when we get to the preseason, maybe not be the most important thing, but the thing we want to see is, does that translate? Like, is Mahomes going to get hit worthy on a big play in the preseason? The hype train is going to begin going out of control on Worthy. What I want to know is that hype real? What are the chances this guy, who's the highest pedigree of any player in that room, right? At least the highest draft capital, those kinds of things. What are the chances he steps in and is the top receiver for this team this year? I would say no better than 50-50 because of the other guys in the room. I think the chances he's a meaningful contributor are very good based on what we've seen. But man, I think more than anything, when we see these videos of camp, what does it remind us of? What are you reminded of when you see guy flashing down the field on deep balls?
I mean, Tyreek Hill, of course, right?
And what that offense looked like. I think that is what is, whether we realize it or not, when we see Mahomes to Worthy deep in a practice, I think that's what's our brains are immediately going to. And for me, it's remember how awesome those offenses were? Remember how explosive those offenses were? That's what I keep thinking about. Now, saying Worthy needs to step in and have the same impact as Tyreek Hill is just stupid. It's a stupid thing to say. But that's what we keep thinking about. I think even if it's subconsciously when we see this stuff.
Yeah, I get it. And it's been such a long time since Chiefs fans have, really been able to have, exciting passing game offensive receivers. It's been a long time since that happened. That there've been receivers that have been talented, but really, like, if you think back to the last couple of years, ever since they traded Tyreek Hill, and I'm not trying to knock the talent that any of the receivers on the roster have had over the last 2 or 3 seasons, but they've been able to be propped up because of who their quarterback is. They've been able to look better because of who is throwing them the football. Like Juju Smith-Schuster was an okay receiver, but he looked like a really good receiver when he was playing with Patrick Mahomes, or at least a good receiver when he was with Patrick Mahomes. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, probably on any other team would have looked like an absolute train wreck. He looked slightly better with Patrick Mahomes. Still had a lot of issues, but he looked slightly better than because he was catching or trying to catch balls, I guess, from Patrick Mahomes, the ones that he didn't drop. So that's been a benefit to the receivers over the last couple of years. It's been a minute since we have seen truly high caliber wide receivers on this roster. And we have that with
do
Rashee
that
Rice, that do that
right?
thing.
Yeah.
With Hollywood Brown, with Xavier Worthy, like they can do that particular thing. Then that's been such a glaring hole that the Chiefs offense haven't had in quite a long time.
Such a glaring hole. And it really, and look, part of that, in fairness to your thought on, not wanting to, but part of it is the way defenses have defended them too. Remember, you go back, and even with Tyreek Hill, remember they lost a Super Bowl because Tampa defended them a certain way. And now you've seen 2 years, where Kansas City has been able to basically win despite the way that defense is happening. So now what I would anticipate this year, and it's one of the reasons I think this offense is going to be so explosive, is that, okay, the Chiefs have now dinked and dunked their way to 2 straight Super Bowls. So now teams have to come in and be like, how do we stop the dink and dunk? And those adjustments, along with the addition of a player like Worthy, who that's very much in his skill set, it's also in Hollywood Brown's skill set, by the way, is to get over the top on people. And that just, to me, seems like perfect timing for all of this. I just think this passing game will be far more explosive than it has been in the last few years. And I don't know what that means for the rest of the league, because now they can attack you really in 3 different ways. If you're the Chiefs, they can attack you that way over the top, right? Well, by the way, it doesn't look like Rashee Rice is going to miss time anytime soon. And so now you have Rice and Kelsey to still dink and dunk with. You have the over-the-top threats finally. And you have a running game that, look, Isaiah Pacheco, I mean, good luck, because you can't defend that if you're the defense. Over time. Now, we may see teams try to do it early on. You can't go out in a game if you're the opposing defense, be like, all right, we got to stop Isaiah Pacheco here.
Right.
You know what I mean? And with his style, what does that mean? It means he's probably going to get a lot of chunk runs because he's going to only have like 4 dudes trying to defend him. It is, if they can protect. And this gets into my, I know we're all the most excited about Worthy, right? But this gets into where I'm the most intrigued probably. And that is, boy, if they can protect, I'm going to call it just a marginal level ahead of where they did, let's call it last year. It just look out. If they can at least protect as well as they did last year, it's still going to be great. And if they don't, then it's a problem, right? Then you have a problem. But I just don't think that's going to happen. But we're not going to know, Tommy, until Wanya Morris and Suamataya get in there and get actual game reps. We're not going to know.
Well, that's been a developing storyline over the last couple of days. Wanya Morris dealing with an injury, and I don't know how serious that injury is. I don't know if it's going to limit him, at least for the regular season. But, Suamataya looks like, at least from what I can tell, projecting to, be that guy, at least as we get going into the preseason, as Wanya Morris continues to deal with that injury. So I guess that is maybe a partial benefit to having a couple of players that are neck and neck, in a race to be the starter, because if one of them goes down, then you've got somebody else ready to step up. So yeah, it looks like, Wanya Morris, he left on a cart on Friday.
You had a lot of those.
Yeah. So like
a lot of leaving on
happened. I don't know.
I know.
And again, I don't know if this is something that is going to be like a long time issue, but it looks like a shoulder injury for Wanya Morris. And so again, I don't know the significant, issue. One other thing that's really interesting is that there was a period of time in practice on Friday that Wanya Morris, before he was injured, and Kingsley Suamataya, they got snaps next to each other on the line. So Suamataya was playing left tackle. Wanya Morris got snaps at left guard. Joe Thuney wasn't in that mix at that particular time. And so I don't know if that's another kind of rotation or situation that the Chiefs are looking at, seeing if they can find a way to get both of those guys on the field occasionally. Although Joe Thuney is, such a great player. I know he's getting older, but might be good to have at least, Morris have that flexibility to scoot over if necessary. But again, I think the bigger question is, how long is this potential shoulder injury that Morris is dealing with going to linger on for?
Right. And that's the problem. Preseason injuries, like, how do you not put somebody on ice? I mean, that's just what you do. Yeah. The only thing with Morris and Suamataya is I'd really like for those two young players to get meaningful reps in preseason games. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care if Joe Thuney plays in the preseason. Just put him on ice if you need to.
Right.
But I kind of need to see those other two guys get there. And look, Morris / Suamataya are probably going to profile, and the Chiefs have done this. The Chiefs have done this a lot over the years. Like, they'll take whoever that third guy is and rotate him all over the line. I mean, like Wiley. Haven't we seen Wiley play some guard, play some tackle? Like, they do this all the time. I mean, they brought Jawaan Taylor in to be their left tackle. He hadn't played a snap at left tackle, I don't think. So
right. Yeah.
I mean, like that doesn't matter as much. I just want to know that both of these guys are developing the right way, because that gives you two guys. And again, I do think, and I've said this all offseason, preseason, I think we forget that the Chiefs used some pretty significant draft capital on Wanya Morris too. Like, Wanya Morris isn't some late round flyer who got thrust into a position. No, they drafted Wanya Morris to be a meaningful contributor on this line. I don't have any doubt about that. And so if he wins the job, great. That means he's developed very well, and it gives Suamataya potentially more time, because then there's not a direct opening. But I've said this before too. I think your best case scenario is those two are your bookends and Jawaan Taylor gets squeezed, right? Like, I think, based on what we saw last year, if Suamataya ends up being an awesome player, put him at right tackle. Let Jawaan Taylor, I don't care how much Jawaan Taylor gets paid. Like, that's irrelevant when you're talking about the Chiefs, because the top priority is protecting Patrick Mahomes. You can have that money sit on the bench. Who cares, right? You need your best players in there protecting your quarterback. And Mahomes is a different cat, and he moves around and does all these things too. But that's got to be the top storyline. And the defense is a fun storyline, but defenses do not show anything in the preseason. They're not going to give you anything. I think it's totally irrelevant what we see on the defense. It's all about, how do those two young tackles acclimate? Hopefully Morris can play. And then the excitement potentially of Worthy making like one catch, or putting Tony in a gadget play in the backfield and breaking one off, and people getting overly excited about all of it. That's what we're going to be watching.
Well, you mentioned Kadarius Toney, and by the way, I know that he returned to practice yesterday. He had, of course, had injuries that he was battling through, I guess, during training camp. But This is something that I think bears really significant watching as preseason goes on. And as we start talking about who's going to make this team, who's going to be cut, there are, in my opinion, 3 wide receivers that the Chiefs have that are going to need to show something extra in preseason if they want to keep their jobs. Kadarius Toney is absolutely one of them. Sky Moore is another one of them, probably out of everybody. Maybe the most disappointing season last year out of all the receivers was probably Sky Moore, just because of the expectations that everybody had for him going into his second season in the pros. And then Justin Ross. Remember, Justin Ross had a ton of buzz last season in camp and during the preseason. And, everybody thought he was going to be the next guy and all of that. He played a little bit for the Chiefs in the regular season. I think he had like a handful of catches overall, but those 3 guys especially are going to need to show something special, I think, in preseason to get a better idea on where or if they even end up making an impact on this team. Justin Watson is also on the team. I think his roster spot is safe. He's a favorite of Patrick Mahomes, but he's going to be probably further down the depth chart, I'm sure, behind those other receivers we've talked about. But whether it's Moore, Toney, even Justin Ross, they've got to figure out exactly what they're going to do with those guys. And those guys need to make sure they're stepping up in the preseason. I liked it when we saw Kadarius Toney in training camp a couple of weeks ago, getting reps with the running backs. I felt like there was some opportunity there for him to maybe some cool things there. He might be the safest out of the 3, but those guys have got to start showing something.
I love the idea of Toney in that role. They just don't need him to be a receiver right now, but that is a role. And I know Mecole Hardman is on the roster, but Toney being Mecole Hardman would be nice, right? And both of those guys are probably going to help them in the return game. That's the other thing to watch in the preseason is what happens in this return game. I don't think they're going to show us ultimately what they're going to do, but we are probably going to get a sense for who's going to be back there returning those kicks. It's not that I think what we see from the receivers is the telltale, Tommy. I just think it's what we'll be excited about. Rick brings up a good point. As he usually does, a great listener on the show. Taylor had the penalty issues, but he was good when it came to protection, and he's a good run blocker. It's all about the protection, obviously. And the penalty issues matter, though. We saw that last year. That's the problem. Like, those penalties were a big reason why the Chiefs struggled, not just on him specifically, but on all the players. The penalties were a problem. And if he can't figure that out, then that's going to be a problem. Like, you just don't. I don't know what better example to put out there than what we saw last year as the Chiefs struggled with penalties, and it killed them. I mean, it absolutely killed them at times. So, maybe he just works that stuff out. I also think there's a better than 50-50 chance Jawaan Taylor is better than he was last year in that category. I think there is a very good chance that he is more of the player they paid and has a really nice year at right tackle. I think there's a better chance of that happening than Suamataia potentially being so good that they have to put him over there. But if that happens, that's not a bad thing, right? That just means these 2 young players are really, really good. But Taylor's fine. I don't think the line's going to be a problem. I think left tackle long-term is something they've tried to solve. Obviously, they've spent a lot of resources trying to solve. They have 2 good options, it seems like, over there. But we still got to see him play. And that is something we can see in the preseason, right? Who starts the game? Are they going to have a chance to get some reps against the opposition's best pass rusher? Does Josh Allen pressure this line at all for the Jags this weekend? I don't know. But it'd be nice to see those guys get one-on-one opportunities against some of these top-tier pass rushers in the preseason, because they're not going to blitz you. So you're pretty much going to just have a one-on-one chance. They might blitz, but they're not going to show you anything real on defense. It's exciting, but I do think, because I'm probably more excited about an opening preseason game this weekend than I have been, but that ain't because of left tackle. It's because I want to see this passing attack. Even if it's for one series, I want to see it. And I know it's dumb.
Don't get your hopes up. I think that you might, catch a quick flash of it, but it's not anything. Yeah. It might be a blink and you'll miss it, type situation. Because
for sure,
in the same way that defenses don't show a whole lot, offenses don't show a whole lot.
Well,
either.
But I would also say, though, even though Mahomes and Kelsey aren't going to play a ton in that game, you wouldn't think. Worthy might, and he might do it with Carson Wentz. right?
I
He
don't know if
might,
I
because
would.
he's a rookie, get some reps.
Yeah, maybe a few more reps than some of those other guys, but I think more than anything else, it goes back to what I said before, an opportunity for some of these other wide receivers to try to figure out their place on this team, or even battle for a roster position altogether. I think that that's going to be more of a storyline in the next couple of weeks than what we see from Xavier Worthy, or, does Hollywood Brown have a flash or two in the preseason? Because I don't think that that's really going to be that much of a major focus in the preseason.
No, but think about it this way. We know Kelsey's not going to play a ton. The only other guy in the passing attack who isn't new to the offense, essentially, is Rashee Rice. Tony's not new to the offense, but he's very likely going to take on a different role, right? I think we all sort of anticipate that. But we're talking about Hollywood, you're talking about Worthy. Like, these are new guys to the offense. And we know, it's very famous that Andy Reid's offenses are difficult to pick up for young and new players. I wouldn't be surprised if those guys get a few extra reps, even if it's with Carson Wentz, just as they're trying to, even if they're out there on a run play, right? Like, it's not so much, you've got camp for new guys to get through, and that's it. And remember with Worthy too, how much of OTAs he missed with a hamstring injury. So had even less time. Now, based on the, practice videos we keep seeing, it looks like he's acclimating quite well. But just because you're, in 7-on-7s doing things doesn't mean you've got a full grasp of the offense, I don't think. I think he does, but I think they'd like to see it. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for preseason. Count down the days. We're so close. Well, they're almost exactly a month away from the start of the NFL season. And I think as uncomfortable as the last regular season was for the Chiefs, it's really shaping up that that's not going to be the case for this offense. I'm jacked up for it. 869-1240. That's the IHOP hotline. You can leave us your comments there. We've got comments coming in on our video streams as well. Appreciate all of that. We'll continue on here. We got to get you ready for a massive series for the Royals coming up tonight and some other headlines from around the sports world. That's what we'll hit next. It's Albrocht and Caster at Sports Daily on a Monday.
Colin Huck's power washing is like getting to the top of Mount Everest with only a bag of beef jerky and a soda. Hucks can conquer all residential or commercial exterior cleaning woes that you have, leaving you feeling like you're on top of the world. House washing, window cleaning, driveway washing, to even graffiti removal. Coming this fall, we'll offer professional holiday lights installation. We love muck and gunk. You don't. Let Hucks handle it. Call for a quote today.
Right. Start your day with 12 News this morning. Get ready with Jake's accurate hour-by-hour forecast, so you'll know if you need a jacket when you walk out the door, or an umbrella by lunch. Start your day knowing what happened overnight and what's happening now. Live, breaking news all morning long. And plan the best route to work and school with traffic from across Kansas. Start your day right. Start your day with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSEW.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
At 12 News, we know you're busy, which is why we're here whenever you need us. Anytime, any screen. With live breaking news.
Critically hurt after an apartment.
Storm Team 12 forecast.
Snowing for many miles.
And the stories you don't want to miss.
The scene's still very active.
Just
right
search KWCH 12 News wherever you stream and catch up on the latest news of the day. All for free and on your schedule, hopefully making your day a little bit easier. And did I mention the Storm Team 12 forecast? 12 News whenever you want.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Determining fact from fiction. That's our full-time job.
You need to have someone give you the whole story from every side.
To help you when no one else is listening.
You need someone to put you first.
That's what we do.
We bring you the facts first.
When you need it.
Wherever you are.
12 News. Facts first.
In the Sports Daily, Rick wants us to talk about Deion and Colorado, a little criticism. So I've tried to look this up for you, Rick. It certainly doesn't sound good. A couple of outlets reporting from anonymous sources, they say players that have transferred out about a violent and gun culture at camp. Now, I had not heard any of this before that. That would obviously be troubling. That would obviously be a problem. We wouldn't want to see that in any capacity. I don't know in general, Tommy, what to make of Colorado. It was such a great story last year. It's obviously going to be different than most college atmospheres with Prime. He's never been shy about that. It will always have felt more pro-like. It would be surprising to me. I will say, I'm not saying it's, true, untrue, anything like that. It would surprise me, though, to see things spiraling out of control on a guy like Prime. He seems like a control freak to me. He seems like the opposite type personality. And so that would surprise me a bit. But yeah, if any of that kind of stuff is going on, well, what does that mean? A, it means it shouldn't be, especially at a college campus. And B, it means this isn't going to work and they're going to fail miserably.
There are so many distractions with the Colorado program, and there have been since day one. I think that they were able to sort of parlay all of the attention early on in the season to be a positive for them, and really get all of that publicity and all the national sports outlets and everybody that they were going to Boulder. They were covering the games. You had celebrities on the sidelines, all of that. It was a fun story. Was it a real story? Was it smoke and mirrors? I mean, they lost basically all their remaining games after that point. So, it was kind of like the emperor has no clothes. You got all the pomp and circumstance out of the way, and then you realize, okay, they're not a very good football team. Then you had the mass exodus after this,
that's
during
the one
this offseason and all of that, right? And now you've got all of these other issues, and regardless of whether or not this culture is actually true and accurate, it's a former unnamed player, didn't want to go on the record because of all of the different, retaliation fears and things like that. Regardless if it's accurate or not, that's not the only distraction. The mass exodus of players, that's a big one. I mean, even small things like, I don't know if you caught this a few weeks ago, like Coach Prime complaining about his players and their ratings on the new college football game with EA. Like, who cares about this stuff? Y'all were 4-8 a year ago. You were a terrible football team. Like a lot of these things, it's just noise and it doesn't matter. And now those distractions have gone from getting you good publicity to getting you bad publicity. And there's a real likelihood that this ends up tanking and torpedoing the entire season.
Yeah, it is. And there's also the fact that they have the likely number 1 draft pick, the top quarterback coming and some talented players, and they're going in like, again, we talked about this when the preseason ranking came out with Colorado. It was the last real amount of time we spent on them. Their range of outcomes this year is all over the map. I mean, it's all over the place on what could happen here for them this year. It's hard, and again, they had a bad year with an incredible quarterback last year that just so happens to be the coach's son, and that will be a distraction. Because he's, they talk a lot about the NFL before, you talk about counting your eggs before they hatch. What is it? Count your eggs before they hatch? Count your chickens before they hatch.
Count your chickens before they hatch. Yeah.
You can count the eggs all you want. They need to pay a little more attention to the eggs, though, because the eggs are college football, and you got to get through this season. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't mean to downplay any of these accusations. That's not what I'm trying to do, because they're very troubling. The attention from Colorado in the short term will still be good for the Big 12. Now, it could fizzle. This could be the only time that relevance. I think ultimately the program is going to land better than it was before Prime got there. Even if he just left and they didn't win a bunch of games, they're still going to be in a better place probably than before he got there. But for this year, for the Big 12, the attention will be good, but it could be a lot of negative attention, but it'll be attention. Right? There's going to be a lot of people that could, for everyone that wanted to watch Prime last year and succeed and do all those things, there are just as many people that want to watch him fail. Just as many that want to watch him fail, but they're watching, right? And that's good for the Big 12. So I appreciate Rick bringing that up. I have not looked at those stories, hadn't seen them before he brought them up. So I've just been kind of checking in there, but there are some interesting stories coming out in some interesting places, I'll say too. That, I'm a little surprised those haven't been more in the mainstream headlines. Maybe it's just a product of the time of year and all these other things. Another college football story that we got to watch a little bit here is in Michigan. And, it's Sherrone Moore with the Wolverines and all the things that are happening. And why do we care about that? Remember their scandal or whatever, because he's from Derby and we've been watching him closely. But there are reports now that he could get penalized as a part of the sign stealing scheme because he had messages, apparently, according to CBS Sports and confirmed by Dennis Dodd, where he's accused of deleting some text between himself and the guy that was, accused of doing all this stuff, Connor Stallion. So we'll watch that as well. That's an interesting way to start his Michigan career. But I guess I just didn't know what the fallout would be without Harbaugh there. He sat his time. I suppose now there could be more fallout from this. I don't think it impacts a whole lot. It depends on whether they have to vacate or do any of that kind of stuff, I guess, because they got it done last year. I mean, I haven't seen anything that says like a vacating of wins or anything like that. It looks like any penalties are would at least in the reporting today would come to more directly. And if that's what happens, Michigan will be just fine. But certainly something we'll be watching as Moore has ties to our area. He's a Derby guy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel slightly bad for him because he hasn't even coached a game as the permanent head coach for Michigan. And there's already talk about what things could end up happening for him with, potentially postseason disqualification and things like that. I don't know. I haven't really spent a ton of time on what Sherrone Moore knew or didn't know regarding the Connor Stallions situation, but Jim Harbaugh did what at least I thought he was going to do. He got out of town. He got out of Dodge, as the pressure was growing. Of course, he won a national championship and all of that, but it's one of those situations for him where you go to the pros and you avoid potentially the ramifications of what happened with Michigan. This isn't uncommon. Pete Carroll did the same thing. He left USC to go to the NFL to avoid all of the ramifications of what happened when he was the head coach at the Trojans. So that's exactly what Jim Harbaugh did. He's got that in his rearview mirror now. If Sherrone Moore ultimately ends up being the sacrificial lamb for all of it, that's unfortunate because he stepped in a pretty bad situation last season and helped lead this team to all of the success that they had. And now he's the permanent head coach. I don't know what he knew or what he didn't know. So if it comes out that he was like the mastermind behind all of it, or he had intimate knowledge of all of it, then yeah, my opinion can change. But at the end of the day, he may have to end up falling on his sword. And I think that that's unfortunate because it's like Jim Harbaugh is going to be able to get out of this scot-free.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what Moore's direct role is, I think, as much as anything else. So we'll see. We'll follow it for you, though. That's also out there. Let's spend one more minute here with Chiefs camp. Mitch Holthus continues his chats with fellows Steve and Ted over on KNSS. Had some thoughts. We'll put a bow on Chiefs camp talk today with this, and we'll come back and maybe touch on League 42. Has a big day coming up today, and then this Royals series against the Red Sox. But let's get this sound from Mitch. So we talked about the defense isn't really going to show us much, and I don't think that they will in the preseason, but practice does. And Mitch has been paying attention to those defensive backs, of course, now without L'Jarius Sneed, and Trent McDuffie's a big part of it. Let's hear what Mitch had to say about the defensive backfield for the Chiefs.
Trent McDuffie's 7-0 in the playoffs in his first 2 years. It's amazing. His guys in his class of the DBs are 35-0 in the playoffs collectively. That's just stupid when you think of Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl. But for Trent McDuffie, he follows this theme of as if they've never done anything before. And with McDuffie now as a old third-year veteran at like 24, he's seeing the world differently.
Man, it's exciting. I mean, it's crazy. I'm on year 3, so I can definitely feel everything I felt rookie year with the rookies coming in, not knowing the plays, everything's new, being out there like your head's cut off. And then the second year and being a year under your belt and coming back with a little more confidence and trying to learn the playbook a little more. Just knowing this defense, we're a bunch of hard-nosed football players. And Coach Spags loves that, and he will tell you every time he sees you, our cornerbacks will tackle and our safeties will cover. And I think that's just so dynamic because you'll see guys playing the nickel, playing the corner, playing the safety. Like, we got a group of guys that can do it all, truly, jack of all trades. And being in a system like that has made it so much fun because you just can do so much. It's football. You're used to just playing on the outside, playing the corner all game. But nah, let me go at the nickel. Let me play the safety. Let me see something else. So I would hate to be an opposing quarterback just trying to figure out what guys where. But for us, it's been a lot of fun.
You always say the cornerbacks are the fighter pilots of the NFL, and I truthfully believe that.
They are, and they're going to be the leaders of this team. Nobody ever throws at McDuffie. Like he just maybe that changes this year. I don't know, but that's not a part. That's a part of his greatness. But the other part is the stuff he talked about. He's a great tackler. I'm curious to see who steps up in the absence of Sneed because they go from having 2 of those guys, right, who do everything, to 1 in a question. Maybe they find one of these young guys to do it. But again, I don't think we're going to see that in the preseason, what the defense is actually going to show. Everything will be very scaled down.
I'm excited to see guys like Jalen Watson take a step forward, Joshua Williams take a step forward, Shamari Connor take a step forward. Those are all guys that, it's big shoes to fill when you lose. And I'm talking about the secondary in general, not necessarily that position, but when you lose a player of the caliber of L'Jarius Sneed, you still have Trent McDuffie, but then you've got to try to replicate that production elsewhere. That's going to be an incredibly intriguing storyline, I think, through preseason because, and I've mentioned it before, I really did think that after the Chiefs lost L'Jarius Sneed, that they would be a little bit more aggressive in finding an external replacement for him. And they didn't. I mean, they didn't really draft at that position. Of course, they didn't go and sign a free agent at that position. They're really leaning on their internal candidates who we've seen in backup roles and second string and that sort of thing. In the secondary, those guys are going to need to take step forward. And this preseason is the first opportunity that they're going to have a chance to do so.
It will be an opportunity for McDuffie to enter the conversation as one of the best in the league. I think. I mean, I think that's the opportunity that's the opportunity. If he's probably already there, by the way, but I mean, for the hype of it, that's his chance this year. And, we'll see. I would imagine teams continue to not throw at him. So it'll be the other things that he's able to do. It's almost like Darrelle Revis, that just early on, like for a lot of years, like you never heard about him in game because teams just didn't mess with him. And McDuffie, of course, is such a great tackler and blitzer and all those things too. But he's such a star. I mean, and his attitude, I guess, in a positive way, and that sound was great to hear. So thanks, Chad, for getting that cut up for a conversation.
By the way,
yeah,
as we kind of put a bow on the Chiefs coverage for today, did you catch that John Gruden was at Chiefs camp over the weekend, like decked out in Chiefs gear and all of that? What do you make of that? What do you make of Gruden?
Nothing. I don't think so. I mean, he was there. What was he there to do? Like talk to the coaches or something?
Yeah,
right?
I think he was there working with maybe some of the assistant coaches.
That's all. I mean,
he had been rumored at one point or another to, potentially go back to the NFL as an assistant coach or an analyst in, for one team.
Yeah.
He's got a lot going on with the NFL. Like he's suing them right now. Like there's a lot happening. But there was some speculation seeing him at camp. And I think that at least that understanding was that he might be there for a few more days, that maybe there's some kind of place for him on the staff. And I don't exactly know what that looks like. Would you be in favor of a guy like Gruden being on Andy Reid's staff?
Yeah, sure. I think he's one of the great offensive minds, the last 30 years. And he's had a lot of other stuff happening with it. But as far as a coach, let's not forget the success he had as a coach. I wouldn't have a problem with it at all. And as far as him wearing Chiefs, these guys don't care.
I don't know if I can ever get the picture.
Does it bother you that Jason Kelsey, do you think it bothers Eagles fans that he wears a Chiefs jersey?
No, but John Gruden, I mean, was the head coach 2 different times for the most hated rival of the Kansas City Chiefs. I have a hard time getting like the silver and black out of my head when I see John Gruden. It's weird. Like it was weird for me to see him wearing red. And
he just
helping
needs
out
a job.
The Chiefs.
He just needs a job. And I think having his mind in the room wouldn't be a bad thing. Now, as a general manager, I'm not sure he was the best. But as a coach, I think he proved it over his career that he was good at it. I would have no problem. If Andy Reid thinks John Gruden can help the coaching staff, bring it on. But again, I didn't grow up a Chiefs fan. I don't have any animosity. I actually, for a period of time in my life, I was a huge Buccaneers fan. While the Cowboys, and I was like in middle school, and the Cowboys were unwatchable. I was a Bucs fan for a while, for a long time. And so Gruden, for me, I remember fondly, right? He stepped in and finally got them over the edge. But so I think if Andy Reid says he can help, I would say he can help. One more story here before we get to a Royals, breakdown of tonight's game in our next segment. League 42. Bob Lutz, or Paolo from Bob and Jeff Show. That's his main gig now. And it has been awesome to see the support for League 42 since a bad situation happened. And today they'll get to finally unveil that new Jackie Robinson statue outside the lines for ESPN's been doing a story. Apparently CeCe Sabathia, Joe Torre will be there at McAdams Park this afternoon. Really cool stuff happening for League 42. I think big picture, you look at this and you're just amazed. And the organization, I think here locally, people have a good grasp of how impactful it's been. But now you look at it and you wonder, man, what are the chances this could grow into something that reaches even outside of Wichita, right? It's just you love to see when good things come out of bad situations. And I just don't think there's any doubt that's what's happening here. This is so cool to see it all happening.
Yeah. And, credit to our friend Bob. I mean, just the work that he's put into this organization, and it's nothing new. I mean, he's been doing this for a decade now. Watching it grow, continuing to make major impacts in the lives of kids in this community. And just the response from people, not only in Wichita, but nationwide, and the Major League Baseball response, the teams in Major League Baseball that have stepped up to the plate. all the dignitaries that are coming into town, I mean, that's a testament to not only, of course, Jackie Robinson, and that can't be understated, and everything that Jackie Robinson did, not only for the sport, but just for the world in general, but also more specifically, the work that League 42 has done in this community, working with underprivileged kids and families, introducing them to the game of baseball. And it's more than just that. There's the educational part of it. There's the, keeping these kids in a positive environment. I can say without a shadow of a doubt that, the impact that League 42 has made already and will continue to make, you can't even, I think it's really hard to quantify it. I'm not sure you can quantify it. But just knowing that the response that they got with this terrible situation a few months ago, and it all culminates tonight, man, hats off to the organization, hats off to Bob and everything that they've done. And it's well-deserved.
It is. And check it all out if you haven't seen it. ESPN stories out there. I know K-Witch has been following it. So you'll have lots of coverage there, 12 News tonight, and then just, support the organization. It's a good one. If you love baseball, if you love doing good in the community, it's a great organization to check out if you're not aware of what they're doing out there for kids in the city. All right, let's take a quick break. Speaking of baseball, we'll come back and we'll get you ready for the Royals game tonight. We'll take a look at some betting angles on the game tonight, some impactful angles on the game tonight. That's all coming for you. Last full segment of Sports Daily coming your way next.
Colin Huck's power washing is like getting to the top of Mount Everest with only a bag of beef jerky and a soda. Huck's can conquer all residential or commercial exterior cleaning woes that you have, leaving you feeling like you're on top of the world. House washing, window cleaning, driveway washing, to even graffiti removal. Coming this fall, we'll offer professional holiday lights installation. We love muck and gunk. You don't. Let Huck's handle it. Call for a quote today.
Right. Start your day with 12 News this morning. Get ready with Jake's accurate hour-by-hour forecast, so you'll know if you need a jacket when you walk out the door, or an umbrella by lunch. Start your day knowing what happened overnight and what's happening now. Live, breaking news all morning long. And plan the best route to work and school with traffic from across Kansas. Start your day right. Start your day with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSEW.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message, so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
At 12 News, we know you're busy, which is why we're here whenever you need us. Anytime, any screen. With live breaking news.
Critically hurt after an apartment.
Storm Team 12 forecast.
Snowing for many miles.
And the stories you don't want to miss.
The scene's still very active.
Just
right
search KWCH 12 News wherever you stream and catch up on the latest news of the day. All for free and on your schedule, hopefully making your day a little bit easier. And did I mention the Storm Team 12 forecast? 12 News whenever you want.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Determining fact from fiction. That's our full-time job.
You need to have someone give you the whole story from every side.
To help you when no one else is listening.
You need someone to put you first.
That's what we do.
We bring you the facts first.
When you need it.
Wherever you are.
12 News. Facts first.
This portion of the program brought to you by Crestview Country Club. You can stop by Crestview. Weather's getting a little better. 36 holes of golf. Check out all the facilities. You got another month or so. The pool rocking and rolling. Spent a little time at the pool this weekend. Not a lot, but just swing in, get a little kids, burn some energy action there. So get out to Crestview. Tell them we sent you. We really appreciate their support here. Tommy and I are both members out there. Tommy, I know you had spent some time out on the golf course this weekend. But a great time out at Crestview.
I did. I took my my 3-year-old golfing yesterday, and it was a big day. I texted you after it was done. We got through an entire 18 holes. My 3-year-old lasted an entire 18 holes of golf. Now, of course, he didn't play. I mean, he would hit his ball a couple times, but he loves riding in the cart. It was hot yesterday. There were a couple times that I was like, buddy, are you ready to be done? Do you want to go inside? And he was like, nope, keep going, keep going. We got through the entire round, and that's big for me because now I know I can go out and play 18. I can take him with me, and there shouldn't be any kind of issue with the wife.
I take mine out. I take mine out for 9. We've done 18 one time, and I caught a little grief. Like, are you sure 18? I'm like, they like it, man. They have a good time. They don't care if they play either. They just want to ride around.
He had a backpack full of snacks that his mom packed for him. We played music from Blippi on my Bluetooth speaker, and so if anybody caught us jamming a Blippi on the golf course, that was why. It was worth it. It worked out really well.
Yeah, we always play the Taylor Swift channel when I'm with my girls. My son, it's like Rocky Roll, man. We got plays like you can play some AC/DC and stuff like that. But yeah, they all enjoy it too. I'm glad you hit that because it does make a big difference when you can just be like, all right, I got the kids. I'll see you later. All right, so let's look at the Royals tonight. They are favored. Brady Singer on the mound against James Paxton. It's 7:10 first pitch. You'll hear coverage beginning here on KFH at 7 o'clock. Royals are two juice down for me on the money line, -140. I wouldn't bet that. So then you get into, the run line. If you go to -1.5, which means the Royals, of course, have to win by 2, you can get +145. I don't think that I like that either. Total runs at 9.5. Don't love either side of that. So the main betting lines, Tommy, I'm not a fan really of any of the 3 of them. You liking any of those?
The only thing I would consider is maybe the over. The Royals offense has looked really good outside of yesterday's game. And I'm hopeful that yesterday was not a trend of things to come with this Royals team offensively. But overall on that road trip, of course, they were playing the White Sox and the Tigers. But overall, offensively, they looked really good. And James Paxton gives up runs. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, his ERA is 4.5. So if the Royals can get out and get some runners on base, then they can score some runs. Brady Singer, his ERA is lower, but he can give up runs as well. So that 9.5, I'm with you. I don't love any of it, but if I'm going to bet any of the main lines for this particular game, it would probably be the over.
Okay. I could see it. They're back home where their offense is better. I think I got to get into the props. Is where I would probably want to get in. So there are two that are interesting to me. Brady Singer's outs, which basically is how deep does he get into the game. If you think he can pitch 6 innings, you would win at -120. So I'm intrigued by that one. Brady Singer's pitch count is never a problem. He is very efficient, if nothing else, even when whether he's good or he's bad, he doesn't throw a lot of pitches. So that one intrigues me. And then even though I know it hasn't hit the last couple of nights, I'm still intrigued anytime by Bobby Witt Jr. getting plus money on his total bases. Now, the thing for him is it gets to 2.5. Most of the time, guys are over 1.5 bases, which means, again, like a single and a double, and you're there. A home run, you're there. A triple, you're there. 3 walks, you're there. Whatever it is. So I would lean into Bobby Witt Jr.'s over total bases at 2.5. That's plus 110, or I would go to Brady Singer's total outs, which basically is over 5 2/3 at -120. Those are probably the two that I would lean into the most tonight. Don't love any of it, really. Bobby's is probably my favorite at home against a pitcher who struggled a little bit in Paxton. That would probably be my favorite of the bets, but it's not. I don't have one like jumping off the screen at me here today for the Royals.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that, from a prop position, Brady Singer, while he pitched well as of late, I don't know if I like any of those props that you just listed off necessarily for him. Offensively, Bobby Witt Jr., if you think that he can bounce back after the last couple of games, I mean, what'd you say earlier? He was one of his last 9. That may be, a potential if you like that, if you think that he can get back into form back at home in this game. I don't know if there are really a whole lot of props I like either. This might be just a game I kind of sit back and just kind of enjoy and not necessarily get involved in the betting.
Brady Singer's hit that prop 4 out of his last 5 games. He had the one bad game. Other than that, he's hit it in 4 out of 5. So just for what it's worth. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll get you all geared up for the rest of the day here on KFH. Don't go away.
Colin Huck's power washing is like getting to the top of Mount Everest with only a bag of beef jerky and a soda. Huck's can conquer all residential or commercial exterior cleaning woes that you have, leaving you feeling like you're on top of the world. House washing, window cleaning, driveway washing, to even graffiti removal. Coming this fall, we'll offer professional holiday lights installation. We love muck and gunk. You don't. Let Huck's handle it. Call for a quote today.
Right. Start your day with 12 News this morning. Get ready with Jake's accurate hour-by-hour forecast, so you'll know if you need a jacket when you walk out the door or an umbrella by lunch. Start your day knowing what happened overnight and what's happening now. Live, breaking news all morning long. And plan the best route to work and school with traffic from across Kansas. Start your day right. Start your day with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSEW.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
At 12 News, we know you're busy, which is why we're here whenever you need us. Anytime, any screen. With live breaking news.
Critically hurt after an apartment.
Storm Team 12 forecast.
Snowing for many miles.
And the stories you don't want to miss.
The scene's still very active.
Just search KWCH 12 News wherever you stream and catch up on the latest news of the day. All for free and on your schedule, hopefully making your day a little bit easier. And did I mention the Storm Team 12 forecast? 12 News whenever you want.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Determining fact from fiction. That's our full-time job.
You need to have someone give you the whole story from every side.
To help you when no one else is listening.
You need someone to put you first.
That's what we do.
We bring you the facts first.
When you need it.
Wherever you are.
12 News. Facts first.
All right, everybody, that does it for us. Coming up on the network today, Jim Rome follows us 11 to 2. You've got Bob and Jeff locally 2 to 4. Zach Gelb into the JR Sport Brief, and then Royals baseball against the Red Sox. Coverage begins at 7 o'clock right here on KFH. Thanks, everybody, for watching all the video streams. 12 News Connected for listening on KFH and the Odyssey app. We'll be right back here to do it again tomorrow, Tommy. Enjoy the day.
Yeah, sounds good. Stay cool out there. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
For Tommy and Chad, I'm Jacob. We will see you then.